Hey guys, this is Corey of Curb Free with Corey Lee, and I'm so excited that you're going to be joining me for this week's Curb Free from Home. So every week I will be bringing you to a new destination virtually, even though you may not be traveling right now during this weird coronavirus era. It's never too early to start planning your future travels, whenever that may be and when you feel safe. So every week I will be talking to a different representative from a different destination every week. Last week, we talked with Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama. And this week, as you can see from behind me, I'm virtually, this is a green screen, in Tempe, Arizona. So I was able to visit Tempe last June for the first time, and it is an amazing destination. So I'm really excited to show you what all Tempe has to offer as far as accessible attractions, restaurants, transportation, and what all there is to do in the city of Tempe, Arizona. So joining me today is I already forgot her title, she just told me, but it's Tony Smith from the City of Tempe's Tourism Board. So everyone, welcome Tony Smith.
Hey. So good to see you.
Director of Communications.
Director of Communications for Tempe Campus. That's me.
Yeah, I momentarily forgot it, but then it came back to me when I saw you.
I love the Sonoran Desert background you have. It's so touched.
Yeah, it's beautiful here in Tempe.
If only we could be together.
Yeah,
but for now.
Yeah, but thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you, and I can't wait to show everyone what they've been missing out on if they haven't been to Tempe yet.
Yeah, I can't wait to hopefully soon see lots of your followers in Tempe. Just a little bit of background in case you don't know where Tempe is. We are in the Phoenix metropolitan area, and we're a college town. We're home to Arizona State University, but it's a place where I like to say that you find lots of unexpected moments. Obviously, there's the Sonoran Desert that people are familiar, and the famous saguaro cactus that are very popular for Instagram photos. But it's a place where you're going to find art in unexpected places. It's where we have lots of festivals and a great food scene and lots of sunshine, of course, just like you'd expect in Arizona.
Yeah, when I was there, it was in like the middle of June, and it was sunny every day and like 100 and something degrees. I remember it was incredibly hot, but you know, I love hot weather, so I'm not complaining a bit. But
it is warm in the summer here, that's for sure, but it's a dry heat. So yeah, don't forget that.
And so, can you come to talk about, I guess, where is Tempe located? It's near Phoenix. So if someone is flying in and wants to visit Tempe, then they would fly into the Phoenix International Airport. And can you talk about kind of how far away that is and other cities as well?
Sure. So our main airport here is Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. So downtown Tempe is about 5 minutes away from the airport. So we're really, really close. You can access the airport from the light rail system, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that runs from downtown Phoenix past the airport and into Tempe. So we're just east of Phoenix and just south of Scottsdale. So kind of right in the heart of the Arizona center of Arizona.
Nice. Yeah. So it's super, super close. And it was only a very, very short drive over to Tempe. And we'll talk more about what all Tempe has to offer. But at first, I want to talk about kind of the outdoor experiences, because when I think of Arizona, I think of like getting outdoors, getting in the desert, and kind of checking it all out. So when I was there, I was able to visit Papago Park, which is a beautiful space. They have a wheelchair accessible trail. Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
Sure. So I think one of the things that's really surprising for some people is they don't realize how easy it is to access the desert. So from anywhere that you stay, you know, whether you're in Tempe or somewhere in the Phoenix area, there's some desert scenery that's just minutes away, if not right at the hotel where you're staying. So Papago Park is a desert preserve that's shared between the cities of Tempe and Phoenix, and it borders Scottsdale. So kind of right there in the heart of the city. It's a gorgeous picture there. So the trail that you went to is the Elliott Loop Trail, which is located across from the Phoenix Zoo. Some of our attractions like the Phoenix Zoo and Desert Botanical Garden are located in Papago Park. So there's quite a few trails there. The Elliott Loop Trail actually has a portion of it is paved, and then it has some flat dirt dirt pass as well, so it can be accessible. And I think it was pretty warm the day that you went, so you just happened to like get out of the van, take a photo, and, and hop right back in. But it's during the mornings here, there's about a 30-degree temperature swing between the mornings and the afternoons. So this morning it was high 60s. This afternoon it's going to be in the mid 90s. So you can still get out, even in the summer months and experience the desert.
Yeah, I went on the trail for like a very, very short distance, but it was extremely hot. So I didn't do the whole trail, but hopefully I can come back to Tempe one day, not maybe in the middle of summer, and be able to do the full trail, hopefully.
For sure, definitely.
And I want to say hello to Lisa. Lisa's watching and says hello, and Debbie is watching from Dallas, Texas, and Vicky Harris. So thank you guys so much for watching, and everyone definitely stay tuned because we will be giving away a Tempe swag bag. So we have some goodies to give away in a little bit, and pay attention to what we're saying because we will have a trivia question. So pay attention. But now that we've talked kind of about the outdoor experience of Papago Park, what kind of indoor experiences would you recommend that are accessible?
So some of the attractions that we have in Tempe not all of them are open yet. We did end our stay-at-home order on May 15th, but some of them are opening up a little slowly. So kind of for future planning purposes, one of my favorites is ASU Gamage, which is a Frank Lloyd Wright designed theater. And Corey, when you were in town, I think you saw Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Amazing. Yeah.
So that's home to our Broadway series every year. We actually have the only Tony voter in the state of Arizona. She runs ASU Gamage, so she helps us bring in some of the best shows from Broadway. So this year, hopefully, we're expecting to see Hamilton, and Mean Girls is coming, Jersey Boys. There's a great lineup of shows.
I was supposed to see Hamilton last month in Atlanta, and then it got canceled. So I'm so upset about that.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite. Hopefully you'll get to see it soon.
Yeah, it is coming to Disney Plus in July, so I'm looking forward to that.
My daughter, who's almost 12, danced around the house for about 2 hours when she heard it was coming to Disney Plus.
I can't blame her.
Another attraction that's a great one is Sealife, Arizona Aquarium. I think you had a chance to visit that when you were here too. It has thousands of sea creatures in it, and it's it's easy to get through. It takes you maybe 45 minutes. It's a smaller aquarium experience. It's not like the Shed or like the aquarium in Atlanta. However, they still have sharks and stingrays and sea turtles. This is the 360 tube that you're looking at right now, so you can see the sea life kind of swimming around you and underneath you, and it's like a fully immersive experience. And one thing I think is really interesting about Sealife too is most of their displays are right at eye level for someone who's in a wheelchair. So I think it makes you just feel like you're really kind of part of the whole experience. You're not missing anything.
Yeah, definitely. I love that like the tunnel that you went through because you could really see everything like above you and beside you on both sides. And the whole place though was incredible. I mean, I was able to easily see everything. And the great thing about Sealife is that it's inside the Arizona Mills Mall.
It is. Thank you for queuing that up, Corey.
Yeah.
So Arizona Mills is probably a lot of your listeners are used to Mills properties. They have quite a few of them around the country, but it has a lot of retail outlets there. So like the Nike clearance store, there's an Adidas factory store that just opened up as well. And then they have attractions like Sealife and a Legoland Discovery Center. There's a Rainforest Cafe, and it's all one level. So it's really easy to access them all. Yeah. I think you spent some time shopping there, my friend. Is that correct?
I did. a little too much time, and my bank account wasn't happy by the end of it.
Well, thank you for your tax dollars here. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Arizona Mills was fun, and there was also a really good like souvenir shop there. So anyone that's like visiting Tempe, I can't remember the name of it, but it's all one level. So if you just do the circle, you'll definitely pass it. But some really, really great stores there to hit up.
And then also in Tempe, it's a place that loves the arts as well. Obviously, we have ASU Gamage, the Broadway Theater. ASU Art Museum is another great place to visit. So it's on campus. It was, that's a great picture. I love the cowboy. It was designed by Antoine Predock, who is a architect from New Mexico. So it has kind of a very Southwestern feel, especially with the cowboy boot sculptures out in the front. Admission there is always free, and they have contemporary art from around the world. So they usually have 4 or 5 rotating exhibits. They have some of the largest collection. Oh, that's funny. There's some of the largest collection of art from Cuba and Latin America as well. And it's just very thought-provoking art. And usually their exhibits are dealing with some sort of social issue, or, just something that really makes you think, which I think is really great.
Yeah, definitely.
And then opening sometime soon this summer is the Arizona Heritage Center, which is also located in Papago Park. It's one of our attractions in the park. So it focuses on contemporary Arizona history. So everything from the very first settlers, kind of that cowboy Western culture that you might expect, all the way up into post-World War II, and kind of the expansion, and with the invention of air conditioning and how the housing boom really, really hit Arizona. It has also some takes on our copper mining history, our agriculture, and just even though I'm an Arizona native, I learn something new every time that I go there.
Nice, yeah. And were there any other attractions you wanted to highlight? Or I know of one I want to mention. It's Ability 360, but yeah. So when I was in Tempe, I was able to visit Ability 360, and it's basically, for anyone watching, it's a center for independent living. So those are located all over the country, but what makes Ability 360 so spectacular is that it actually has a sports and fitness center. So when you're there, you can actually go for only $5 per day. So you could get, like, if you're just visiting Tempe as a tourist, you can visit Ability 360 for only $5 per day. Or if you want to go more, then you can buy like a monthly pass or a yearly pass. And when you're there, they do have adapted workout machines, such as the one pictured, and many, many more. It's actually a huge center. And they also offer adaptive sports for locals. And if you're visiting, and you're there when a game's going on, then you could definitely see a game of wheelchair basketball or soccer, or another exciting game, and get involved that way. But Ability 360, they also even help like local people of Tempe and the Phoenix area find care support and caregivers. So it is a center for independent living, and it's spectacular. And I really loved it because, I went in the summer, and they actually have a pool that has a pool lift on it and an elevator. So you can either use the lift to get in the pool, or like an elevator thing that goes down in the pool. And I've never seen that feature on another pool in the entire world. So
really? Wow.
Yeah, you guys are really ahead of the game when it comes to that. So it was really remarkable to see. And if someone's visiting, and you're staying at a property that maybe doesn't have a pool lift, or you just want to go check out this really awesome accessible pool at Ability 360, I would say it's definitely worth the $5 fee just to do that.
I think we almost convinced you to move here after you saw Ability 360. So I'm still hoping. So they have Ability 360 has been closed for the last couple of weeks, but I just checked with their marketing director, and they are starting to reopen. So the pool fitness center should open in the next couple of weeks, and then the whole facility in June. And one of the things that I think is, besides it just being a beautiful facility, I loved how the workout equipment too, like even in the weight training area, they have seats that would just move. So if you're with a friend who doesn't need a wheelchair, you can work out right next to them. Like if there isn't any barrier to that. I just thought that was it's so smart the way that it's laid out. Really
it's like really the most, I guess, inclusive like environment that I've ever been in. So they have thought of every single thing that you could possibly think of, I believe, and they've incorporated it into that place. So it's remarkable. And there's even like a little cafe on site, so you can get like a drink or a coffee or tea, and just relax and then go enjoy the pool or work out or whatever you want. So if anyone's visiting, that would really be my number one recommendation to do, is visit Ability 360 and really support that organization.
Definitely. And they also have a light rail stop right at their entrance. So that makes it even easier for someone to get there. And that light rail stop was put specifically there because of Ability 360.
Awesome. And you kind of led into my next question with that. So what about if someone's flying in, to the Phoenix airport and then, gets to Tempe, how can they get around? Are there wheelchair accessible van rentals available or public transportation?
So the one that I know that we used when you were here, Corey, it's called A1 Van Rental and Leasing. So I believe they picked you up from the airport. Am I getting that correct?
Yeah, they did. They brought this van that's pictured to the airport, and I was able to get it there, and then use it my entire time in Arizona. So even when I went up to the Grand Canyon after I was in Tempe, and then came back to Tempe after the Grand Canyon, so I used it the entire trip.
And they were just really great to work with, honestly. And I love how close they were to the airport and that they were willing to get you to and from the airport. I thought was really helpful. I think it's the Brawnability conversion is what they use for all of their vans. So they have these side entry ramps and the lowered floors and seatbelts and tie down straps, like anything that you could possibly need. So that's an awesome way to get around. And then I mentioned Valley Metro Rail, so I'll talk a little bit about that. So Valley Metro Rail is a system that extends a little more than 20 miles. So it's from the northwest part of Phoenix, just northwest of the downtown. It goes through downtown Phoenix, past the Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport into downtown Tempe. Also provides access to the Arizona State University Tempe campus, which is in Tempe, and then into downtown Mesa. It's only $2 to ride it one way or $4 for the entire day. And that pass is actually transferable to buses as well. So all of the buses and light rail comply with ADA. So they have level boarding on the trains and either a lift or a ramp on the buses, priority seating near the doors, audible announcements for the stops. So it's just a very easy way to get around, especially if you want to see a lot of the attractions between the downtown. So you can get to the Arizona State University campus, to our downtown, to downtown Phoenix, where the Herd Museum is and where a lot of our sports arenas are as well. So that's a really effective way to get around town too.
Yeah, for sure. And I wasn't able to actually use any of the public transportation because I did have the rental van, but when I was at Ability 360, I remember that Lauren, who works there at Ability 360, who was like praising the transportation and like really recommending it. And he said it's phenomenally accessible. So I was really happy to hear that when I was there.
Yeah, Lauren and his team, we've been working with them to try and bring more sports groups into Tempe. So kind of having them take a ride on the light rail and seeing how they can get to the hotels in downtown to see if that would be accessible for their athletes. So we hope to see some of those groups in town soon.
Nice. Yeah. And speaking of downtown, I was able to stay at the Courtyard Tempe downtown, and it was a really, really nice hotel. So fully accessible. It had a pull lift pictured here, which was really, really great on a hot day to enjoy the pool. And I really like the Courtyard, but are there any other hotel options that you want to recommend for anyone listening?
Sure. So we have about 50 hotels in Tempe. So a lot of the brands that people are familiar with, and I know a lot of times people like to stick with their Marriott points or, their Hilton points or whatever. So we have all of those brands. I looked at a few of their websites over the last couple of days, and most of them have specific information as far as like how wide the doorways are, what kind of lift they have for their pools, if they have a roll-in shower, or you can just contact them to find out exactly what you need. We also have a couple of unique brands in Tempe. One is the AC, which is a Marriott property, but it's a boutique.
I love AC properties. They're
just very chic and cool, and always is located on the north end of downtown, right by Tempe Town Lake. And then there's also a Graduate Tempe, which is just on the south side of campus. So that is a hotel brand that are all centered around college campuses. So the one in Tempe was the first one. They have one in Athens, they have one in Madison, they have one near Ole Miss. So a lot of those great college town experiences are kind of providing another home away from home that's a little unique.
Nice, yeah. And I don't think we can talk about like any Arizonan city really without talking about the Grand Canyon, at least briefly. So I want to tell everyone like how far I was able to visit the Grand Canyon when I was during my Arizona trip to Tempe. But I want to talk about like how far Tempe is from the Grand Canyon and kind of how easy it is. So what is the distance from Tempe to Grand Canyon?
So from Tempe to the Grand Canyon is about 4 hours to the north of us. Sedona is about 2 hours north of us. Tucson's about 2 hours south. So there's a lot of destinations that you can easily get to from Tempe. So we like to say that Tempe is a great weekend destination, but it's also kind of that gateway to get you to see some of the other destinations in Arizona that you've always wanted to visit. I know it was a goal of mine because you had told me when we first met you wanted to visit the Grand Canyon. So I was so excited that we could make that happen for you last year.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it was really an easy drive up to Williams, Arizona. And then from there, I was able to ride the Grand Canyon Scenic Railway. And it's only, I think it was only a 2-hour train ride. And it goes directly to like the south rim of the Grand Canyon, which is what's pictured now. And it's like the most phenomenal view that you can imagine. And so we spent a few hours there and then got back on the train and went back to Williams. So super, super easy to get to as long as you have the rental van and can get yourself up to like Williams. And you could definitely take the train and do that, which is what I did. And it was such a memorable trip. But I mean, Tempe, it really was the highlight for me, even I think, because Tempe is just, I mean, it offers so much. It's a cool little city, and one that I think I told you when I was there, like I would consider moving here. Like it's that incredible and offers so much. So in addition to all of that, can we talk about is there anything that Tempe, I guess, is doing to kind of showcase accessibility or improve accessibility? Any kind of like unique initiatives that you would like to talk about?
Sure. So knowing that we had this call, I checked with the city of Tempe because I know that obviously accessibility and inclusivity is something that's very important to Tempe as a community. So a couple of things that I just learned about that I think are just fascinating. So Tempe has their own ADA story map. So a lot of cities have to complete an ADA transition plan where they take a look at the assets in their city, look at what barriers there are to accessibility, and then come up with a plan in order to mediate those issues. So what's unique about Tempe's plan is it actually lives online, so people can go to it and see pictures of some of the barriers for people who need to use a bus, or for people who, what sidewalks look like, or what, driveways look like, or, it showed a picture of a park that doesn't have a paved path getting to a picnic table or the playground. So like the city is really kind of doing an assessment of all of the assets in the city and trying to figure out how they can make it more accessible of a place. And it's all public, completely transparent. Everyone can look at the plan and kind of see how things are changing as they go forward. So the first phase is to look at the downtown area, because that's the busiest place for either attractions and also people commuting and going to ASU. But then they're also looking at 10 parks in Tempe to see how they can make those better as well.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. And where can someone find this map? I think it's on the Tempe website. Is that correct?
It is. Yeah, I can send a link to you, maybe, Corey, if you want to share that afterwards. Take a look.
That'd be great. And I'll post it here in the comments on Facebook Live. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then another thing that the city is working on too that kind of is a complement to that is inclusivity in parks. So they're looking at all of their playground equipment and hello, Sandy, and seeing how they can make them more accessible. All the playgrounds that are going to be renovated or have been renovated recently, they're working to make sure that they're completely ADA compliant and the kids can play not just side by side, but like really play with each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always love like whenever I'm somewhere and see an accessible playground, because that's something that I like really never had like growing up. And so to see that now, it just like brings me so much happiness, and I'm so excited for like all the little kids that get to use that now. So that's amazing to hear.
Yeah, I knew that was definitely an initiative of our city, but just to kind of see it all spelled out and see what that plan looks like online, I was really, really proud of what we're doing. So hopefully we can just keep making it better and better.
Yeah, awesome. And one more place I want to recommend for anyone watching. I know my love for this restaurant/attraction, but it's called Snakes and Lattes, and it's a phenomenal place where they actually have thousands of board games. So you can get your food, get a drink. I think they have a full bar. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get a drink, get food, and then take your pick from thousands of board games. As you can see, I was playing Taboo, but they also have like a million other games, like anything ranging from like games from 30 years ago to Japanese games and like brand new games, and then the classics like Monopoly and Scrabble and all those fun things. So that was one of my favorite like restaurant, quote unquote, restaurants that I went to in Tempe. But what are 3 of your favorite restaurants that you would recommend?
This is so hard because my favorite topic is food. I think during your trip I probably recommended, I don't know, 25 restaurants when you probably had time.
They were all good. Everyone that I went to was very good.
Well, thanks. So besides Snakes and Lattes, which is opening again this weekend, so we're excited to see them back.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorites, and I know that you liked it as well, is a place called Daily Jam. It's a breakfast and lunch spot in downtown Tempe, and they are famous for their red velvet waffles, which, that looks so good. They're just so delicious.
My mouth is like watering, like looking at that.
But they have omelets and egg sandwiches. They have my favorite banana pancakes in the city. And it's just a really fun spot. They have a great patio, and it's right across from a light rail stop as well. So very easy to get to.
Nice.
Next, I would say, I don't think you had the chance to try this one. There's a place called Ghost Ranch, which is it's a Mexican food restaurant. It's chef-driven cuisine. The chefs are cousins. They grew up in Nogales, and they're using a lot of their family recipes and kind of, putting their own spin to it. It's absolutely delicious. They're known for their Froze-rita, which is a margarita that has it's pink, kind of made with rosé. They also have an Aztec cake, which is kind of like a marriage between an enchilada and a lasagna in like a cast iron pot that is just delicious. They make their own tortillas, they make their own salsa every day, and they're just the nicest people on earth. So that's one of my favorites.
I'm like punching myself that I did not get it.
Another trip, Corey. Is this what is going to happen?
Like enchiladas and lasagna, that's like my 2 favorite foods.
Great. So I know you went to Mikhail's Depot Cantina when you were here. So Mikhail's is an example. We have a lot of Mexican food restaurants in Arizona. Obviously, Mikhail's is one that's been here for decades. It's owned by a family. They have several locations around town. The one that you went to in downtown Tempe is actually moving to a location just north of the Asu Campus. So they're in transition. They haven't opened up a new one yet, but it's a beautiful new space. So we'll hope to see that sometime soon because they do have really good enchiladas and chimichangas. They're actually, there are 2 families in Arizona who claim to have invented the chimichanga. Mikhail's family is one of them. There's another restaurant in Tucson that lays that claim as well. I don't really care who invented it. It's delicious. So I'm glad that somebody did. And another favorite of mine is Petal House Brewery, which is located in downtown Tempe. It is a expansive brewery. It has one of the largest patios in the city, definitely in downtown Tempe for sure. They brew their own beer. They're a relatively new brewery, but started winning awards, within their first year or 2. And they also just redid their menu, and they have an incredible amount of vegan and vegetarian options and gluten-free options. Like they really wanted to be able to accommodate everybody and obviously serve them great beer, but then have all kinds of menu options for everybody in your party.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, and before we get to our last question, I guess, I think we could go ahead and ask the trivia question and give people time to maybe think about it and get their answers submitted. And then we'll go into the last question and then reveal the winner. So for this question, Tony's going to ask you guys a question about Tempe. Hopefully you were listening earlier when we talked about this, but if not, you can cheat and Google it. So we won't harm you. We'll still send you the gift. But we have a question for you, and the winner will be whoever's comment pops up first. So I know Facebook is weird, and sometimes it gets things out of order. So I'm sorry if you were really the first, and we didn't see it first. But I'm doing the first one to show up in my feed right here. So that will be the winner. So Tony, let's show them what they're getting first, actually. So you will get this pretty cool swag bag. It's a backpack that says Tempe and what is it? A water bottle.
It's a reusable water cup, and the backpack actually has a water with a straw in it as well. So it's kind of like a camel pack situation. Cool. And a business guide and a chapstick as well.
Nice. So a Tempe swag bag, and hopefully, you can start planning your trip to Tempe, and then you'll have that to take with you when you finally get to go. So I guess you want to go ahead and ask the question?
Sure. This is very exciting. Okay. So the question is, so I talked about a venue in Tempe where we have all of our Broadway shows. It's called ASU Gamage. Can anyone tell us which architect designed ASU Gamage?
So which architect designed ASU Gamage? All right, that's the question. And now, while we wait on some answers to come in, I know you talked about 3 restaurants, but what are the top 3 attractions that you would recommend?
So I think for anyone, especially if it's their first trip to Arizona, I really think it's important for them to experience the desert, because that's so important to our destination and just really sets us apart since we're part of the Sonoran Desert. So I would recommend the Desert Botanical Garden, which is pictured behind you. So they have plants from all over the world. So not just the Sonoran Desert, but plants from arid climates all over the world. And it's really a living museum. So it has pathways where you can see placards that tell you about the different types of plants. You can learn about them from the docents there as well. They also have different events and exhibitions throughout the year, from concerts to my favorite, which is Chilies and Chocolate Festival. They have some art exhibitions as well that sometimes will be incorporated into the garden. And it's a great place to watch the sunset as well. So that would definitely be first on my list. Desert Botanical Garden is actually in Phoenix, but it's from downtown, just maybe a 5 or 10 minute drive from downtown Tempe. So very, very close to the city. Yeah. As I mentioned, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I was there in the summer, they had like a flashlight tour at night. So that was really cool because they gave us like flashlights and we were able to see kind of like the wildlife or creatures that come out at night, and they had like a snake exhibit. So they had like a bunch of poisonous snakes that you could like see, and snakes are my biggest fear. So
they were behind glass. It was okay.
Yeah, they were behind glass, luckily, but it was still pretty scary. I was like in and out as quick as I could be, but it was a fun experience. We could even make like s'mores too. So it was a really fun experience.
Yeah, and they usually do that in the summer. Obviously, we're waiting to see when they open up again. If not this summer, hopefully the fall. But they always provide so many reasons to go beyond just the beauty. There's just so much that you can learn about the desert there. Oh, yeah. And I would also say, so I'm going to kind of cheat. I know you asked for 3, but I'm going to like group things together and hope that that's okay. So one of my other suggestions is to see a performance. I mean, this is a city that really loves the arts. So definitely see a Broadway show if you can at ASU Gamage. Music or live theater at the Tempe Center for the Arts. That's our performing arts center that's located right on the lake. So it's a really beautiful venue. You can see a production on campus at Arizona State University, which is one of the largest universities in the country. So they have all kinds of arts programming going on there. And then hopefully soon we'll welcome back live music at Tempe Marketplace. Tempe Marketplace is an outdoor entertainment district with lots of shopping and restaurants. And on Friday and Saturday nights, they have free live music at the district stage. So it's just a great place to have dinner and just kind of hang out, grab a churro or ice cream afterwards, and just be able to experience the city. And then I
was just going to say I was able to go there and ate at Lucille's barbecue there, and it was really, really good. And I didn't even eat barbecue, but I don't remember what I got there, but I remember it was like phenomenal. And my mom's like a huge barbecue fan, and she loved it. So
good. And you're from the South. That's a good testament right there.
Yeah. And for anyone watching, let's just quickly do the trivia question again. So our trivia to win a Tempe swag bag is who designed ASU Gamage? So it's a building in Tempe that houses theater. And who is the designer of ASU Gamage? So first person to get that question right will win a Tempe swag bag. But yeah, and your third recommendation?
So my third recommendation, okay, beyond Arizona Mills, because we talked about shopping at Arizona Mills, so I'm not going to include that one, but it's great. I'm in a couple downtown Tempe and the Arizona State University Tempe campus together because they're right next to each other. Right. So within downtown, that's where Tempe Town Lake is located. It's just on the north end of downtown. The south end of downtown is the Arizona State University campus. So downtown has about 100 restaurants and shops in this pedestrian-friendly area. You'll see the red brick sidewalks there. Has public art. The chair that Corey is next to is a chair that gets decorated throughout the year. So when classes start at ASU, it might have the ASU mascot on it, or during Pride Month, it'll be decorated in rainbow colors. During the holidays, it's kind of, whatever kind of cool holiday theme they can come up with for the chair design. So that's, they also have a lot of taverns in downtown, public art, like I mentioned. ASU Art Museum has a ceramics research center that's located in downtown as well. And A Mountain, which is one of our most scenic desert vistas in town, is located right in the heart of downtown as well. And then the ASU campus is just a beautiful campus with free museums and galleries and public art there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, downtown was so much fun. So on like Mill Avenue, I mean, there are multiple bars since it is a huge college town. And I even went to, like, it's called Candy Addict, and it's like a candy store with like old school candy, like candies that I haven't seen since I was like a young kid, you know, and it's like just so much fun. And there was like a really good ice cream shop, and I tried some kind of like jalapeno, like chocolate ice cream.
Oh, was it Sparky's Old Town Creamery? Maybe?
Yeah, Sparky's. Yep. Yeah. It was a very interesting flavor, but not too bad. But they do have regular ice cream too. So if you don't want jalapeno, you know, you could definitely get like chocolate, you know, strawberry, all the more normal flavors too.
But you know, when in Arizona, you might as well try something with jalapenos, right?
Yeah, I had to do it. Yeah. I just actually finished off a bottle of Arizona like hot sauce that I bought in Tempe.
Oh,
yeah, I finally got to the bottom of the bottle like a week ago, so it's over with.
I know you can't come here without having, you know, Mexican food of some sort, whether it's in your ice cream or a hot sauce or just, you know, a restaurant that you try.
Right. Yeah, and hey, Cody says hello. Thank you so much for watching, Cody. We have quite a few people watching, but nobody has gotten the answer yet to the trivia question. I don't know.
So a little hint, it is a very, very famous American architect.
Very famous.
Yes. He has a winter home in Arizona.
So the question again for anyone just tuning in is who designed Asu Campus in Tempe, Arizona? So a very, very famous designer. I'm not seeing any answers yet. We may be too tough for them.
Someone Google it fast.
Yeah,
can I get more hints?
It's 3 words. I mean, like a first, middle, last name. They're all very popular. But is there anything else I guess you want to say about Tempe while we wait for an answer to come in?
Gosh, let me see. What haven't we covered? Let me think about that. Well, let me talk a little bit about the ASU Tempe campus while we have a moment. So there are over 50,000 on campus, when hopefully we'll all be able to welcome them back in the fall. So it's one of the largest university campuses in the country, and it's in Tempe. So Tempe is a relatively small city. It's about 40 square miles. So to have a campus that large, like, it really just contributes to the culture of the city. And there's just there's an energy to a college town that I think is just unique anyway. So hopefully we'll be able to welcome them all back here very soon.
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah, I still don't see any answers, but if no one answers, it's okay. We'll find out. We'll find a way to give the swag bag away and maybe ask people tomorrow. But yeah, I know I think we covered a lot. So unless there's anything else you want to say, or why should someone come to Tempe? Do you have one final pitch that you want to say?
It's so hard because I love it so much. But what I will say is, you know, I know that Arizona is definitely on a lot of bucket lists as far as travel goes, and we're all looking at places that we want to go, you know, as we look into the end of 2020 into 2021. So if you're like Corey and you've always wanted to see the Grand Canyon, or you've always wanted to go to Sedona, or just kind of soak up, you know, the desert sunshine that we have, I highly recommend Tempe is a great place to start out your trip, either for a weekend or do like Corey did and rent a van while you're here and be able to see the rest of the state. It's a very beautiful place.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend anyone watching to visit Tempe. It's super easy to get to, since the Phoenix International Airport is so close to Tempe. And then from there, you know, you can get to Tempe within just a few minutes. And then, I mean, that's really the perfect place to start any Arizona trip, I think. So definitely looking to Tempe and staying downtown and checking out the Asu campus and all the cool sites that we've talked about. And be sure to even get outside into the desert, no matter how hot it is. At least experience it for a minute and see some cacti and all that good stuff. So, yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Tony. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was so great to see you, Corey. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Yeah, good to see you. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week when I will be talking to Connie Nelson of Wilmington, North Carolina, and its island beaches. So one of my favorite Southeast beach destinations. So I'll see you guys next Friday. So see you then.